चलो, गुड मॉर्निंग भैया।
गुड मॉर्निंग सिदाना जी।
हाँ जी भैया। तो डिस्क्लोजर से स्टार्ट कर लेते हैं। सबसे पहले, नथिंग इन दिस वीडियो इज अ बाय या सेल रिकमेंडेशन, और कुछ भी, सब कुछ एजुकेशनल पर्पसेस के लिए। और मार्केट भी वैसा नहीं है कि बाय सेल करो, तो थोड़ा कोशिश रहो। और और टाइम स्टैम्प्स और क्यू एंड ए फॉर्म डिस्क्रिप्शन में मिल जाएगा। तो अगर आपको किसी भी स्पेसिफिक सेक्शन पे जंप करना है, तो वहाँ से करो। आपको हमारा मार्केट व्यू या कोई और चीज़ है जो हमारी नहीं सुननी, तो आप सीधा डायरेक्टली स्पेसिफिक सेक्शन पे जंप कर सकते हो।
और अगर वीडियो भी नहीं देखना तो सीधे क्रॉस मार लो। दैट इज फाइन टू।
दैट्स फाइन टू। बट
यस।
कब बताते रहना, अगर कुछ भी फीडबैक भी है, आपको लग रहा है हमें साइकोलॉजिकल, कुछ भी साइकोलॉजी से रिलेटेड कुछ भी टॉपिक है जो कवर कर सकते हैं, वो हम लोगों को सजेशन देते रहो, और विल कवर दैट।
विल ट्राई टू कवर दैट। पता चला
विल
अगर
ट्राई टू
उनको,
कवर दैट।
हाँ, उनको प्रॉब्लम हो रही है और हमें भी वही नहीं आता है तो फिर वी विल नॉट बी एबल टू कवर दैट, राइट?
और हम नहीं कवर कर रहे तो समझ जाना कि नहीं आता, कोई बात नहीं।
हाँ, सब सीखते हैं यार। आज के टाइम 30 30 40 40 साल के जो हमारे वेटरन ट्रेडर्स हैं, मार्केट विजर्ड्स है, वो भी सीख रहे हैं, तो नो शेम इन दैट।
तो
डन।
ओवर ओवरव्यू ऑफ द मार्केट।
ओवरव्यू ऑफ द मार्केट। कुछ नहीं है। वन ऑफ दोस सिचुएशंस जहां पे आपको दिख रहा है कि लेट्स स्टार्ट विथ निफ्टी। निफ्टी इज इंटरेस्टिंग। पहली बार मैं सामने देख रहा हूं, तो अगर मैं शॉक हो जाऊं तो डोंट डोंट गेट सरप्राइज। ये लाइंस मैंने ड्रॉ करके रखा हुआ है, स्ट्रेंज। एनीवेज, तो आप, ये पीपल बेसिकली निफ्टी 50 ट्रैक करते हैं, राइट? तो निफ्टी 50 में तुमको देखो कि ऐसा मूव दिख रहा है कि हाँ, अरे, ऊपर जा रहा है, थोड़ा सा चॉपी है, ऊपर जा रहा है, यहाँ पे प्रीवियस हायर लो टाइप्स, हायर हाई स्ट्रक्चर टाइप्स का ब्रेक कर रहा है एंड ऑल दैट स्टफ। बट ग्राउंड लेवल पे फंडामेंटली बहुत ज्यादा ट्रैक्शन है नहीं स्टॉक्स में। तो ये पूरे 2 वीक तो चलो बहुत मस्त निकले हैं, एकदम रिलैक्स करते हुए। कुछ भी ट्रेड नहीं लिया। एक 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 दो तीन छोटे मोटे ट्रेड्स लिए हुए, तो एकदम मिनिमल पोजीशन, और वो भी इमिडिएटली सेम डे निकल लिए। तो क्वाइट अ वेलकमिंग रिलैक्सिंग पीरियड। तो इस पीरियड में भाई पैसे बचाओ, अपना मेंटल कैपिटल बनाओ। कहीं नहीं भाग रहा है मार्केट। स्लो रखो अपना ट्रेडिंग एक्टिविटीज को, एंड देन एक बार कंफर्मेशन आ जाए तो विल सी कैसे करना है। तो दिस इज मिड स्मॉल कैप 400 गैप अप। यहाँ पे तुम्हारा ये 50 के नीचे ब्रेक, शेकआउट, सारा स्ट्रक्चर हो रहा है। तो उस दिन हम लोग लास्ट टू लास्ट वीक जब बात कर रहे थे, तो मैंने बोला हुआ था ना कि 2 3 टाइप के वो पॉसिबल है।
कंसोलिडेशन।
ये यहाँ से भाग जाए अभी, ये ऐसे 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 करे। तो आई स्टिल फील कि अगर 1 वीक मिनिमम, बट 2 वीक्स विल बी मोस्ट वेलकमिंग। अगर ऐसा कुछ कंसोलिडेशन मिल जाता है तो नथिंग लाइक इट, बिकॉज अ लॉट ऑफ स्टॉक्स है उस रेंज में जहां पे दे कैन ब्रेक आउट। तो मेरे हिसाब से विद इन कमिंग वीक और नेक्स्ट वीक और सो यू वुड स्टार्ट सीइंग, क्या कहते हैं, ब्रेकआउट्स हैपनिंग, एंड मोस्ट मोस्ट प्रोबेबली follow through coming in. Uh, and as soon as you see couple of stocks following through, that's a good indication कि हाँ, the environment is slightly turning to be more, the environment turning to be more favorable for our style of trading, right? तो वो एक तुम्हारा immediate feedback मिल जाएगा. You don't have to buy that stock, you just watch it on a daily basis. मेरे लिए, एज आई हैव सेड इन प्रीवियस वीडियोस, कि मेरे लिए वो सब्जेक्टिव फीडबैक लेना इज वेरी डिफिकल्ट। आई डोंट प्रोसेस इट वेल। तो
बिल्कुल।
मेरे लिए ऑब्जेक्टिव रूल्स हैं। राइट नाउ 2 आउट ऑफ माय three objective rules have met. One of them being close above 20-day moving average, and 20-day moving average
Mm-hmm.
is
Slope on.
the slope is in the upward trajectory, right? So that is one condition. Uh, ये मेरा होली ग्रेल टेम्पलेट है which I will not show. ये ये अभी नेगेटिव पे है तो there is no buying for me.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, जैसे ही मेरे को बाइंग मिलेगी, लेट्स से अज्यूमिंग हाइपोथेटिकली कल बाइंग आ जाती है, कल कल मेरे को इंडिकेशन मिल जाता है, बट आई गेट द इंडिकेशन एट द एंड ऑफ द डे, राइट? सेशन क्लोज होने के बाद डेटा अपडेट होता है एंड देन आई विल गेट द इंडिकेशन. सो नेक्स्ट डे will be when I will be able to enter, right? So I'll be always 1 day late entering into the market, which is fine for me क्योंकि फिर 3 4 दिन
Mm-hmm.
5 दिन के अंदर ना I'll be more than 100% invested, and if it is actually a true breakout, then I'll be more than 150% invested. So डोंट बी इन अ हरी. मिल जाएंगे, बहुत स्टॉक्स हैं, बहुत स्टॉक्स दिख रहे हैं. आई थिंक मोहित ने अपलोड कर दिया है ना मोहित,
कर दिया.
वॉच लिस्ट. बहुत
बिल्कुल.
ज्यादा वॉच लिस्ट दिख रही है, तो आप सारे सारे स्टॉक्स आप ट्रेड नहीं कर सकते हो, राइट? सो बी the sooner you accept that fact, the better it will be, and it will take care of your FOMO as well. So let's say इस फिल्टर में 83 स्टॉक्स हैं, ऑल यू कैन ट्रेड इज मैक्सिमम 8 स्टॉक्स. सो 83 में से अगर 8 स्टॉक्स आपको मिलेंगे, वो ऐसा नहीं है कि सारे 83 के 83 एक ही दिन ब्रेकआउट कर जाएंगे, नहीं, ऐसा नहीं होगा. Let's say four
Mm-hmm.
five will break out tomorrow, 4 5 will break out day after tomorrow, 4 5, so they will break out in groups, in bunches, right? So you can always get that ample time जहाँ पे you have bought an initial position and it showed 4 5 6% of uh क्या कहते हैं gains same day, and then backing on that gains you can add more and more positions, right? So definitely, and like previously also, and there is a meme also कि मैंने कितने सारे लीडिंग स्टॉक्स पिछले साइकिल के मिस किए थे, बट still the performance is good, right? So hurry, don't be in a hurry to jump in with a FOMO कि हाँ नहीं ये निकल रहा है तो I should buy, because this space is when most of the people have got chopped out, and more than the drawdown, यहाँ से I would say 23rd June से it's been like 1 month of very choppy period, and more than the money drawdown, it's, think about it, trying fail, कितना मतलब ultimately we are,
मेंटली प्रॉपर्टी.
exactly, we are human beings, right? Our, when you're doing everything else correctly, आप इतना ध्यान देके you are identifying the stock correctly, you are making that sniper precision entry point, right? Stock goes up, you get like, wow, हो गए मम्मी, girlfriend, I'll buy you a phone, and then next day is like just goes against you, right? So that feeling is very, very bad, and that feeling has been going on from last four weeks, 4 5 weeks. So just just be cautious, trade. If, I mean, I'm not saying don't trade, because 2 out of 3 conditions, I mean, for me, 2 out of 3 condition is still fine to start, but I don't want to क्योंकि अभी जो those stocks that I'm tracking, they are not right there, so I'm not getting those entry points. What I perceive or what I foresee is, or what I would like to see is another 1 2 weeks of consolidation. That is where the right side, the picture perfect right side, will start forming into majority of my watch list stocks, and then it will break out, right? So until that happens, I'm more than happy to wait around. I don't want to drain myself mentally, attempting losing. Uh, so even if you're, let's say, attempting, don't size big. Uh, cut your size to 1/4 of what you usually trade. Let's say if you're used to trading 10% size on each buys, cut it down to 2.5%. You're not going to miss a lot. Don't live in that FOMO of missing out because uh, the more drawdown you have, the difficult it is to recover and then go back to your uh, highs, equity highs, right? So that's the agenda behind
Then today's
today's video. We'll talk about how even a percent of extra drawdown impacts the overall returns, annual returns so drastically, and you'll be really surprised to see that if you haven't seen it already. So this watch list is up. Um, Mohit, we need to add this IPO watch
हम्म,
list also. I don't think
ठीक है.
we upload IPO watch list. So IPO watch list में कुछ नहीं है, it's the same thing, but because it's new IPO, right? So the rating is slightly slow. So keep it 80 plus.
हम्म,
ठीक है.
हम्म,
Technical filter remains the same. Everything remains the same. Again, यहाँ पे 52 वीक लो वाला मैंने थोड़ा सा हटा के रखा है क्योंकि ये मतलब जस्ट स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं, राइट? सो
recent, हाँ.
हाँ, तो rather than that, I have this filter of it. IPO date should be within less than equal to 2 years. I mean, I don't want a lot of overhead supply
हम्म,
on the left
हम्म,
side, right? So even with that filter, you get about 22, 23 stocks. ये आपके क्या कहते हैं IPO watch list है. So 80,
I
83
will share that.
83 there, 22 there is about 105 stocks. So 105 stocks is the entire universe. अब उसमें ये 105 stocks if मतलब filter में आए हैं, universe will be 30, 40 stocks, watch list will be 15, 18 stocks, focus list will be 5, 6 stocks, or maybe less, right? The lesser the better for me. So Mohit will post this. Now we'll quickly
I'll
and we'll try to make this video very very short ताकि आप एक खाना खाते टाइम पे एक बार बैठ के देख सकते हो तो बेसिकली
like you
आ
said in the last video कि रोज हेबर ने भी कोट करा था कि I'll be a week later than a week early. I'll better be a
right I'd rather be a week late
हाँ.
into entering than a week early because आपका मेंटल प्रेशर बहुत जाता है यार बहुत ज्यादा चला जाता है राइट तो
एंड
दिस इज
पिछली
दिस
वीडियो में कि 3 टाइप्स ऑफ वॉच लिस्ट शेयर कर दिए वो कैसे बनती हैं. तो अगर इसमें अभी नहीं समझ आ रहा कि यूनिवर्स क्यों 40 का है तो पिछली वीडियो देख सकते हैं.
हाँ बट वो मतलब I don't think we have discussed a lot in detail about it, but
हम्म,
the point is universe list is everything that I'm tracking on a bigger picture. So that's something of a watch list with a view of let's say a quarter or the whole cycle, next cycle of let's say 1.5, 2 months or 3 months of next bull cycle. तो वो पूरे
ठीक
पूरे
है.
30-40 स्टॉक्स उसके होंगे फिर उसमें बहुत सारे फिल्टर्स लग के इट विल कम डाउन टू 12, 15, 16 stocks in the watch list which I'll be tracking on a
हम्म,
weekly basis and then focus list is something which
फॉर द करंट.
which is buyable for me or which may give me a buy point within this week so that's all uh yeah so basically what we are trying to do here is understand key in so the market moves in multiple legs, right? You have a up leg, then you have a down leg, or you can call it as consolidation, and then it goes up again, and then it consolidates again, right? So the point is the up leg becomes an easy money environment where everything works for you. In anything you buy and then next day you are in profit or the same day you are in profit immediately. The problem is the consolidation happens right at the peak of the previous up leg, जहाँ पे euphoria kicks in, begins to kick in, and since it's everything is working, right? Anything and everything is working, so you don't need to use your brain in terms of what you want to buy or what you need to buy, right? The consolidation hits very hard, and people keep attempting to buy during this phase, thinking कि अरे this is very temporary. This is going to be like एक दिन दो दिन का है. For example, let's say till here. Mm, where are we? Yeah. Till here, everything was good. Till here, also, everything was good. And this move, whoever missed this move,
Mm-hmm.
attempted to buy this new all-time high rally. And then this is where the choppiness started to kick in. And this is where, people who are attempting again and again and again will get nicely burned out, right? So the whole idea is ki you give back as minimum as possible so that the money that you have made previously, it compounds really well when the next cycle starts, next leg up starts, right? So this is the whole point of this sheet. We have three different sheets, so I'll cover two of them, and that would make more sense to a lot of people. That should make, not would, that should make a lot of sense. uh, if you already are aware, then again, like I said, I'm not going to cover anything that is not already out there. A lot of people might have already discussed this, so I'm not copying them. I'm just simply giving more exposure to that knowledge, right? So, basic assumption is in each leg of upcycle, you are earning 30%, right? And your starting equity is, let's say, 100 points. And in each scenarios here, we are talking in the multiples of 5%. So, what would your return look like if you give back 5%? What would your return look like if you give back 10%, 15%, and so on and so forth, right? So, in the first leg, let's say, and this is of course customizable, you can enter your own inputs and then play around with the number. Mohit will share this link for you to download,
डिस्क्रिप्शन में
and
मिल जाएगा.
yeah, so play around with the numbers. I would urge, in fact, to play around with this number. So let's say you make 20% in the first leg up. After that, the new equity becomes 120, right? Uh, you don't give back anything, and then you make another 20%. And this is assuming that you're going to get only two legs of buying opportunity or easy money environment in a year, right? That is the fundamental assumption here. So you have one leg here, you have one leg here. So just 20% return in the first leg, you don't give back anything, another 20% here, and you have a 44% annual return, right? If you give back 5% of your gains, or if you give back 5% in each leg, so after the first leg, after the first leg, you get 119, and then your compounding to the 20%, it will go to 142.8, right? So that is a 42.8% of return. If you are giving back 10%, it drops to 41.6%, right? If you drop to 20%, the annual net return drops by 5%, right? So the more and more you give, the next compounding, right? It doesn't have that strong of an impact as otherwise it would. So the sweet spot would be to be somewhere here. I'm not saying 0%, it is not possible. As a swing trader, there will be very few times in a year where you'll be at your peak. For about good 6, 7, 8 months, you will always be in a drawdown. Okay, so don't aim to be in a all-time high at all level. That's not possible. That is total incomplete or irrational expectation. So be in that five
You'll
to ten,
you'll always give back something. हमेशा.
always, always, always your equity will be in a drawdown whenever there is like a consolidation, right? So when the legs are up, you are going, 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 going. When it's consolidating, you are attempting and giving back. So for the most part of the year, you will be in the drawdown. There will be very few months or weeks where you will be in like all-time high types, right? So just play around with your number. Uh, this would really give you the right expectation of what you can achieve by doing what, right? For example, if you are giving back 20%, then this table will give you exactly that. If you reduce it to 10%, how that impacts your returns, right? This is just a two leg up move in a year. Basically, this is more for a bear market like the 2024 25, the late 2024 25 market where we had only just one, actually it's just one decent move, but there were like couple small ones. So I'm just combining it to two legs of up move.
Mm-hmm.
But you have more detail here where you have like four, five, six, seven, eight up moves. Now, anything beyond four is unrealistic as per my knowledge, as per my
Mm-hmm.
experience. I would say three is the most ideal, but in most of the bull runs, you get like 2 3 minutes of up move, 3 4 weeks
Mm-hmm.
of down, then 2 3 months, then 2 3 months, 2 3 weeks, 4 weeks. So that happens sometime in the late 2023, where you just got back to back up move, and the consolidations are very brief, very short, right? So
Mm-hmm.
just assuming that we have only three legs, and you just see how amazing the math is and how impactful it works out. Uh, you make 30% return in each leg, and you give back just you give back 10% of it in after each leg during the consolidation phase, right? By the end of the third leg, you will have 100% returns, like the dream for everybody to go to triple digit,
Account
right?
says double.
Exactly, in a year. Uh, with a 20% give back, three legs, 90%, right? 40% give back, 64%, right? So just see 104 to 64% you move. And this is what most of the people would have done in this last 1 month. They would have given back more than 20 30% of their gains, right?
Easily, easily.
It is suicide. It is absolutely suicide, right? So again, I would say play with these numbers. You'll get more realistic expectation of and idea of what is actually achievable in the market. This 30%, people would think this 30% return in a leg is high. Absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
30% in a 2 month leg is absolutely achievable. And I'm not saying you be in the leaders, even if you are missing first, second leaders, but you're in the strongest sector. 30% is there was a
Very.
there was a period, I think mid of May, where back to back for 3 days, my portfolio increased by 5%. 5% today, 5% tomorrow, 5% day after tomorrow. So it is not totally unrealistic. It is very much possible. 30% is very much possible. 30% is, in fact, I'm keeping it on the lower side if you are very if you are, I would say, if you know what exactly you are doing, right? 30% is very much achievable. But even if I move it to 20%, right? Three legs, you see, even if you give 10% back, you are making 64%. 64%, people don't realize, or
Mm-hmm.
many people, not many people, but most of the FNO traders, right? 64% they aim to achieve in a month, right? So uh,
And
that
and
that's
on even in cash on a good size, 64% is too much. Uh,
64% is a lot of return. 64% is not a joke. 64% is a huge return. You give back 30%, you are halfway through, like, you know, 50% mark, right? So just play with these numbers. Just see how much you have made. But yeah, the real interesting sheet is this one, right? So I've bifurcated with the month-wise return,
mm-hmm.
right? Uh, so what I would suggest is you go back, let's say, even if you don't have full year of this financial year of records, you can pull in or you can feed in the previous year. Go month by month, see how much you have made, enter all these inputs, and then what you do is just try to cap the drawdown months by 1% or increase by 1%, and then you see how it impacts your portfolio, right? So, for example, what I've done is I've just this is just hypothetical numbers. In April, let's say I have got I have achieved or I have gained 10%. In May, I have gained 10%. In June, I gave back 4%. In July, it's flat. In August, I gave back 4%. September gained 10%. And then the whole cycle repeats. Minus 4, minus 4, minus 4. February 10% and minus 4%, right? So if you see 1, 2, 3, 4, we are talking 4 months of only 4 months of gains as opposed to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry, one, two,
Mm-hmm.
3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, as opposed to 6 months of downward period, and then my kid is here. 1 second. Okay, he went to his net tent. Sorry. So, even in spite of such a horrible year, you end up making 15%, which is still higher than what
Mm-hmm.
Nifty or most mutual funds will earn you, right? Now, if what I do is if I make minus 4% to minus 3%, right? That you're capping minus 3% return instead of minus 4%. You see where we are? We are at 22% now, right? So from 14% we directly jumped to 22%, and the only difference we did is instead of
With the
minus
same returns.
with the same positive returns, right? We didn't change anything in the positive returns. What we did is we just reduced the loss-making months by 1%. That's all. Minus 4 to
Mm-hmm.
minus 3%, right? Now let's do something which is far more interesting, and let's say we made 15% here, 15% here, 15%, 15%, right? So just for 15% months, you are almost halfway through. You are at 45% return, right? Now, this 45% return, what it would return to if you increase your stop loss or increase your drawdown by 1%, right? You see, you gave back almost 10% on an annual basis. Now, if you make it to minus 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
Almost 17, 18% you gave back, right? That is what I was trying to imply, and that is what I was trying to say. Uh, keep your keep your drawdown months to as small as possible. If you're getting chopped around, there is no point of trying again, 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 unless you see a clear-cut signal. Because the higher it goes, the poor your annual return is going to be, because this is more or less capped, right? You don't have control on these things. These things you are on the
Mm-hmm.
mercy of God. That okay, if if the market turns favorable, only then it can happen that you get 4 months. It can happen you get 6 months, 3 months. But I'm just taking to be on a very pessimistic side that you get only 4 months. On a very pessimistic side, you make only 15% return in these 4 months. But what I can do control is the loss that I'm making, the risk that I'm taking, right? If I'm just controlling it to 3% and do nothing else, right? See, and in a healthy environment, let's say if you have got just one more 15% return, you are at 67,
Done for the year.
68%, right? So a good way to use this sheet is go back to previous year 2025. Uh, if you are using Zerodha, you can use the month-wise returns, feed that number, and then play with the negative days, negative months, because that is what is in your control. The positives are not in your control. The negatives
Mm-hmm.
is what you can control, right? Just play around with these numbers. and then see how different your result would have been if you had contained your drawdown days to by 1% itself. I'm not saying you make drastic changes, just by 1% you cut it down, and that that really shows in your annual returns at the end of the year, right? For me, this year, April is positive, May is positive, June is positive, July is the first. June would be somewhat break even, slightly on the positive side. July is the first month where I have had -3% DD. Uh, 3 months are positive, so I would take that any single day, right? I'm assuming August, September would be slightly better or much better than July. But yeah, not in my hand, right? So all I can do is control my drawdown, which I did, and it's -3% for the month of July. That's all, right? So just control what you can. Don't think about the compounding or don't think about the gain months or leg gains, because if you control this, if you control this, then this will be taken care by itself, right? So just play around with this sheet. You have three sheets. You have month-wise breakup. You have this sensitivity where you have like multiple legs. I wouldn't advise to go beyond four because that becomes unrealistic. Most ideal is three. And then in a bear market, so the market that we had in 24, 25, where we just had like small brief window of two legs up down. Uh, this sheet represents that. So all these fields are editable. You can you can set your own the return that you expect or the return that historically you have made, and just see what the sheet throws at you.
And like Mark Medunrini quoted कि losses work geometrically against you. वही मतलब प्रूव हो रही है उससे
It's
इस
it's a,
शीट से.
it's always the case, and the point is, instead of just thinking in terms of the monetary terms, right? Just think about the psychology also. If you are here, 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 3 months of consolidation is a lot. I mean,
Mhm.
it drains you down. So, uh, by these 2 months, let's say if I have another month of, let's say July, I had like -3%. I know for sure that August will be lesser than -3%. There is no way I'm going to be
Mhm.
at -3 or higher than that. Because I will be completely out of the system. Like this last 2 weeks, I didn't even this whole past week, I didn't even run scan. I didn't even run scan for the coming week because scanning is not going to take a lot of time for me. If I keep scanning, right, back in the mind, I will be tracking those stocks. So even if what happens is, I mean, and again, this is personally me because I'm not
Mhm.
as disciplined as I think, and that's why I'm keeping it out open because it took me a lot of time to understand that my personality is somewhat uh, not really suited for or ideal for trading. So what I can do, however, in my control is to stop watching stocks altogether, right? So that takes care of
Mhm.
the FOMO itself. So end of the day, the first thing I do is end of the day I open my market breadth data points, and if I get a signal that okay nothing has improved, that's it. Immediately laptop shut down. I don't even go for the scan. The day or the evening I get that okay I'm getting something positive, I'm seeing improvement, I'm seeing the green signal to go ahead. That evening is when I will run the scans and I'll find something viable for next day, 2 3 stocks, right? So until that happens, I'm out because I have the tendency and the only way to control that FOMO for me is to not look at the system at all. So coming back, I will not have this minus negative months where the negative percentage is same. That is not going to happen. If this is minus 3% and market doesn't improve, I'll be completely out of the system. I'll not even switch on and see what is going on, right?
So,
So
so do you have a drawdown limit key? For example, if you lost 3% in July, you'll not trade the whole July or something like that.
ऐसा कुछ नहीं है ऐसा कुछ लिमिट नहीं है बट पॉइंट इज कि see again that becomes subjective अगर I have had what kind of previous months, right? If I have minus 3% or minus 5% here, minus 4% here, right? Then I will have a ceiling ki acha theek hai, this is going to be a minus 5% month, right? I mean, I'm not going to ever violate minus
Mhm.
5% month. But as of now, like I have had positive this, a very positive this, a very positive this, a sort of break even to slightly positive this month, right? I can afford to give back slightly more than what I have in July, right? Minus 3%.
Mhm.
But the point is, that is where the objective rules have kicked in and have kicked out of my system. And that is where you have to do that kind of deep research that a system brings you into the market when the market is turning favorable and it kicks you out as soon as possible so that you don't give back a lot of gains that you have made in the previous leg up, right? So my system for me it has kicked out, and July has been pretty low activity month for me, right? Uh, I started getting kicked out around here. So whatever gains I have made during these days in the June, that got somewhat exhausted here. July, couple of stocks, they basically took care of majority of my small losses, but the batting average took a real big hit. And I was
Mhm.
probably correct only 10 to 15% of times where 7, 8 stocks back to back they are in a negative. One stock taking care of all those things. So, like I said, I'm not perfect. I'm learning with you guys. I'm evolving with experience. So that 8, 9 trades in a stretch, however small they were, it shouldn't have happened. And that is when I have added more strict rules to my
Mhm.
trading that okay in those situations what I should be doing. But like I said, right, I'm I'm very poor at interpreting subjective feedback, and that is why the objective feedbacks are there for me. So after this day, when we discuss, I think on 17 July, yeah, post 17 July, the trading activity has been absolutely bare minimum. I took, I think, on this day, I bought 3 stocks,
Mhm.
each with
Yeah.
5% size, and got out, stopped out immediately. Had this not have happened, I would have had like minus 2% month of July, right? So it doesn't really matter, minus 2, minus 3%. But to answer to your question, right now I don't have for this financial year I don't have. But last financial year I had so the poorest
Mhm.
month I have had like minus 7%, minus 7 or minus 8% as the maximum drawdown that I have had month wise, right? So that's not going to happen again. I think minus 3% July, it should work as a good yardstick going forward. Because if and when we break out of this situation, I don't possibly foresee that we'll have another choppy period for a couple of months. Like if we break out from here, I think we will have good 2, 3 months of bull run and then we'll have slightly choppiness, right? So again, a lot of it depends on how what kind of previous months you have had, what kind of gains you have had on the portfolio, and then that sort of determines how much can you give back. If you will see in the drawdown terms, my drawdown would be slightly higher than minus 3% because minus 3% is the monthly. monthly this thing, what do you call that, loss, right? But
Mm-hmm.
at its peak, when my portfolio was up, I was up a lot, and then I gave back a lot, right? And that is because my rules didn't let me sell until I, had like a significant until I gave back a significant part of my profit. So again, each cycle you learn something, each cycle evolve as a trader.
So means after 7-8% drawdown, how did you bounce back? Because drawdown takes your mental capital and confidence too.
Yeah, see, it does, sure does. But then that is when you have to go back and see what are you doing wrong, right? For example, are you buying correct stocks? Are you buying right setups? Is your market favorable to your environment, favorable to your style of trading? All right. Let's say yes, yes, yes. Then, I mean, all three cannot be yes, and then at the same time, you are making loss, right? Something is changing. So
Mm-hmm.
either your stock selection is poor, or your entry is poor, or you are choking trades, your stop losses are poor, or the market is poor. It would be any of these four conditions, maybe another one or two, but I'm not aware of that. So these four I feel is good data points to tell you what you're doing wrong, right? So let's say in this volatile period you don't have rules, right? You don't have somebody who doesn't have objective rules of in and out. If you are feeling volatile, and that is what we were discussing right now, right, Mohit, before starting this recording, that
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
what to do if you are getting chopped out again and again. So one point is that, you cannot use the same strategy for every phase of the market. For example, in the early April till end of May, you use day low as stop loss and it will not hit, right? But now day lows are getting
Mm-hmm.
hit in the same day. You think there is a bounce and then the market whoops your day low and make a new low for the day, right? So in that case, what you can do is move back from more volatile stocks if you're trading more volatile stocks to slightly lesser ones. So you can switch from small mid cap to more like mid cap, large cap stocks where they are less volatile, and the same
Mm-hmm.
2-3% of the stop loss. So, for example, let's say I usually keep a 3% stop loss. So, the same 3% stop loss in a small cap or mid cap, right? It will, let's say, be at the end of or at the low of the day. But in a slightly bigger market cap stocks, that 3% will give you ample room where it will go and touch, let's say, 10-day moving average, right? So stop loss of day low versus a stop loss of 10-day moving average. I would rather prefer 10-day moving average. That's my aim, to move to 10-day moving average, because if a stock is going to historically, if a stock is going to do well, it would
Mm-hmm.
respect its 10-day moving average and then subsequently uh 20-day moving average, right? So as soon as my even if the 3% stop loss that I'm using as a day low, as soon as the 10-day moving average crosses that, I'm switching to 10-day moving average as a default. As soon as the 20-day moving average touches that, I'm switching to 20-day moving average as a default, right? So
Mm-hmm.
if you are face
Basically, multiple levels of trailing SLs.
correct, and it sort of depends on what kind of rules you have, right? So, for example, my profit booking rule is I will not book profit until close below 10-day moving average, the first part of the
Mm-hmm.
profit, right? So, if I'm not going to take profit below 10-day moving average, why should I take stop loss any higher, right? So if I'm going to
Mhm.
respect 10-day moving average for my profit booking, I have to respect that as a stop loss criteria as well, right? So if you are facing a lot of heat in your portfolio, if you are getting chopped around, maybe a good idea, just give it a try. Maybe a good idea will be to move to a slightly
Mhm.
larger names where it's not as volatile. Get your confidence back, get that two, three stocks moving in your favor, and then you can come back to those small caps and mid caps, which just like acts as a
Mhm.
rocket booster and then take your portfolio up like a zzz, right?
मतलब
So
पोजीशन साइज भी
exactly, and then it's not that you can't make impactful or you can't make impact trading large caps now. Large caps are actually much more easier to trade. You can size extremely high in that, extremely heavy. If you are sizing 15% in a mid cap, you can size 30% in a large cap, and it will not bother you. It will not touch your 10-day moving average or better 20-day moving average, and it will give you that 20-30% gains. So at the end, it gives you the same sort of impact. A 20% move in a 15% size it gives you, sorry, a 15% size in a mid cap, uh, and you are gaining, let's say, 30% in that, it gives you 4.5% of portfolio. Whereas you take a 30% size in a large cap, you gain about 10-15%. It 15% it gives you the same impact. And trading that large cap is far, far more easy than trading that mid cap and small cap, right? So at the end, it plays out to be on the same level. You take big size in large caps, small gains, and then it at the end, see, we are here to make impact on my portfolio, either this way, or this way, right? I don't care how it makes an impact as
पैसा
long as
बनना
it's
चाहिए
paisa बनना चाहिए. That's all. So
सो
yeah, just download this sheet, play around, see what new observation you gain from this exercise. Leave some observations in the in our comments just to see if it really worked well for you guys or not. And yeah, I think
सो नो Q&A फॉर दिस वीक इसलिए छोटा रहेगा वीडियो
uh, right. So
बट
have
ठीक है क्वेश्चंस मैंने ही पूछ लिए तो
hmm.
वो हो गया मेरे हिसाब से
हमारे क्वेश्चंस तो पहले से प्रिपेयर्ड रहते हैं, पहले से तो पूछ लेते हो, एंड देन आई गो ऑन आंसरिंग दैट, एंड देन वी रियलाइज अच्छा वी कुड हैव कैप्चर्ड दैट क्यू एंड ए इन अ वीडियो, राइट? तो ऐसा काफी हो
व्हाट
रहा है.
व्हाट व्हाट विल डू इज कि नेक्स्ट टाइम अगर मैं कुछ आपसे पूछ रहा हूँ तो विल रिकॉर्ड दैट अगर उसमें अच्छा गया तो वो अनस्क्रिप्टेड कॉन्वर्जेशन की तरह वो चला
ये भी
जाएगा
ये भी अनस्क्रिप्टेड ही है ब्रो.
हाँ नहीं
कुछ
ये भी अनस्क्रिप्टेड ही है बट मतलब वो बिल्कुल सीधा एक आप यही समझ लो कि बस बात हो रही है साथ ही बैठे हैं बात हो रही है और वो चला जाएगा
हाँ
एकदम सिमिलर फॉर्मेट है
हाँ, उसमें भी लाइक इन दिस वीडियो वी गो ऑन अ डिफरेंट टेंजेंट, एक चीज से स्टार्ट
हम्म,
होती है और कहाँ कहाँ पहुंच जाते हैं.
हाँ
अभी
उसका उसका कोई स्ट्रक्चर नहीं होता इसका स्टिल एक
हाँ,
स्ट्रक्चर है कि
इसका
ओवरव्यू और वो होता है
हाँ,
इसका
डिस्क्लेमर
कोई
और ये
स्ट्रक्चर नहीं
वो
होगा
उसका कुछ नहीं होता, उसको कहाँ की बातें कहाँ कहाँ पहुंच जाती हैं. तो या आई
वहाँ
थिंक
शादी से बैठे बैठे भी हो सकता है कि सीधा पहुंच जाए कि अच्छा ट्रेड करना है कहीं से एक्स से वाई वाई से जेड कहीं भी जा सकते हैं
कुछ भी टॉपिक आ सकता है भाई. बट हाँ, सारी ट्रेडिंग रिलेटेड ही बात होती है, बकचोदी कम होती है.
बिल्कुल
कुछ ना कुछ इधर उधर होती ही रहती है बातें.
वो स्किप कर देना वो फटाफट राइट की दबा के
क्या चीज?
मतलब कुछ भी इधर उधर लगे फटाफट राइट की दबाया और स्किप करते रहना उसको
डन. ठीक है. तो हैप्पी संडे, बेस्ट ऑफ लक फॉर नेक्स्ट वीक, एंड देन लेट्स सी कैसे होता है. एज ऑफ नाउ मैंने कोई भी स्कैन नहीं रन किया है, सो आई डोंट नो मार्केट क्या है क्या नहीं है, बट जस्ट बाय लुकिंग एट दैट लिस्ट आई थिंक pharma stocks are doing well,
हम्म, हम्म,
engineering stocks are doing well, right? uh, power stocks are forming that
Right hand side.
low cheat sort of market revenue signature low cheat structure. So yeah, maybe another week or two of consolidation, and we'll see some nice move. देखते हैं.
Okay. So,
All
okay
right,
भैया.
चलो bro, bye.
Bye भैया.